Hey guys, it's Girl Got Game. Welcome to my 1K Q&A and stuff. Thank you so much for all the questions and comments you guys submitted for this. You've all completely blown me away by the sheer amount of replies, so I'm going to make sure I do my best to answer all of your questions and comments. There were some questions that were asked by a few people, so I've decided to answer those first, and then I'll go in order of who commented first to who commented last, just to keep things simple-ish for me. So without further ado, let's get this stuff started. First off, we have Anime Anne, Little Cool Cat, and Andreas Butticus, I believe is how you pronounce that. They asked, what is your favorite game? Any game that's one of your favorites to play. It would be great to see what your favorite game is. And this was the third question of Andreas's. Your favorite games besides visual novels. Well, I will say that some of my favorite games that I go back to play are Knights of the Old Republic games. Every once in a while I get the itch to go back and replay them, and I always enjoy those two games immensely. Also, the games in the Witcher franchise are some of my favorites. The world and characters are super interesting in those games, and I love them, even though I suck at playing them. My absolute favorite game... Boy, that's tough to pick. I'd say for a game that I replay over and over, it would be the Lego games, especially the Lego Star Wars game. The reason being that that was one of the first games that me and my brother played together, kind of as a team. And I have so many good memories of working together and messing with each other in that game to reach 100% completion. And it's just a really fun game and has a special place in my heart, so there's that. And a favorite game that is kind of a once-only experience, in my opinion anyway, not really one I think I could replay all that much, is Undertale. That was a game that had delightful characters, delightful music, and a wonderful world and story that just completely absorbed me into it. And it was a game that really brought back the love and wonder I had for video games when I was a kid. In my old and cynical age now. Yeah, I guess I've gotten kind of cynical towards games, but Undertale really brought back the feeling of falling in love with a game that I had when I was a child, and it was a really special thing, so I think I'd have to pick that as a favorite of mine as well. Okay, thanks for the question. Next, from Jolanda and Telegram the Fury, we have, what was your favorite game so far, and what is your favorite game out of the ones you have recorded? Favorite route included, please. I'd have to say my favorite game so far that I've done for the channel would have to be, hands down, Amnesia Memories. The art, the music, the well-written characters, and super interesting storyline really drew me in, so I'd have to pick that. And as for my favorite route, it's hard to pick one. I mean, obviously one route isn't even up for consideration, but I think you can all safely guess whose route I'm talking about, so I won't go into that. If I had to pick, I would say Ukyo. He was such an interesting and complex character, and the lengths he went to for the MC just melted my heart, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Ukyo. Okay, next we have from Katie Lily and Telegram the Fury, or Furry, I guess I should say. I'm saying Fury, sorry about that. Telegram the Furry, do you watch anime? If you do, what's your favorite? And do you like anime? If so, what is your favorite? Yes, I definitely do watch anime. Not nearly as much as I would like to, but I do watch it and I love it. I haven't watched many anime, but I'd have to say my favorite so far is Dance with Devils. It's about this schoolgirl named Ritsuka who gets entangled in this fight between demons and vampires who believe that she is the key to discovering the location of a forbidden grimoire which will give mastery over the world to whichever side gets it first. And of course, they be all hot boys. And it's also musical love. So there's tons of stupid random outbursts of song and silly humor. Oh, and hot boys, did I mention? So, yeah, just everything I could possibly love is just smooshed into that anime, so I definitely say that's been my favorite so far. Okay, next question is from Jolanda and Telegram the Furry again. What are you afraid of? Do you have any fears? If so, what are they? Oh my goodness, yes, I definitely have fears. Let's see. I'm afraid of heights, although I still go on roller coasters because I'm morbid that way. I'm also scared of bugs, especially spiders. I'm afraid of being alone. I always have something on, whether it's the TV or a video on YouTube or something. I need some noise to distract me from the murderer that's probably in the house with me when no one else is around. I'm super scared of needles. Whenever I get blood work done, I pass out from fear. I'm scared of dogs, especially big ones, since one time when I was 17, I was out jogging with my dad and my brother, and this huge dog lunged at me and bit a huge chunk out of my thigh. So needless to say, that kind of shook me up pretty bad, and so I'm very timid of dogs now, unfortunately. Oh, man, I'm really scared of a lot of things now that I think about it. Maybe it would have been a shorter answer to ask what I'm not scared of. Okay, let's move on to the next question. It's from Kimmy13923 and Andreas Butticus. Possible face reveal, and this was the first of Andreas' questions. Face reveal? Heh, face reveal, you say. Well, I'm a very shy person, so I most likely won't be doing a face reveal anytime soon. But I won't say that it will never happen. Maybe if people keep pestering me, I'll give into the peer pressure one day and reveal myself to the interweb. But until then, I'm sorry to say I won't be doing a face reveal for a while. But thanks for asking. Next question is also from Kimmy13923 and Andreas Butticus. Talk about yourself. What's your husband like and how did the two of you meet? And this is the second from Andreas. If you have that special someone, how did you meet? And does he/she share your passion for visual novels? Ah, yes, my sweet hubby. We met, I think, 7 years ago now. We were both doing volunteer work, and both of us are pretty quiet around people we don't know, so we didn't talk much in the beginning. Eventually, seeing each other more and more, we started to talk and discovered some things in common, such as we were both homeschooled, we had startlingly similar humor, oh, and of course we also both enjoyed playing video games. So quickly a close friendship developed between us, and we were friends for about a year. And then we didn't actually realize that our feelings for each other had changed, but rather it was our friends who started to notice that we were treating each other differently. It was really funny being confronted with that, since we both were completely confused, since we weren't intending our actions towards each other at all that way, but our friends' comments got us thinking, and very, very, very gradually, we worked up the courage to admit our feelings for each other, and the rest, as they say, is history. We've been happily married for 4 years now, even though he does not share my love for visual novels, sad face. Although, I have been working on him to do another collab with me, which is a kinetic visual novel, and he did a visual novel demo for his channel once and really enjoyed it, so who knows? Fingers crossed, I'll draw him over to the dark side eventually. Okay, next we have from Kimmy13923 and also Shaka Rakana. If you would make your own dating sim/visual novel, what would it be about and what mechanics would you use? RPG, stat raising, or just good old-fashioned visual reading? And if you had the team and resources to make your own video game and/or visual novel, what would be the concept behind it and what would it be like? This is a really interesting question, and not one I really thought about until now. I'm not a very imaginative person, so it's hard for me to come up with a game idea, but maybe something set in a high school where all the students are animals? Like Joey the jock, who's a kangaroo, and Odette the otter, who's into operas and theater. And you could pick what animal you would like to play and name it, and your goal is to pass the end of the year while also romancing an animal in your class enough to take to prom at the end or something. Something like that, maybe, with some stat raising depending on what subjects you took, as well as school clubs you participate in, and that'll get you closer to some in your class. Maybe something like that. Thanks for the question. The next is from Anime Am. Can you play the Seduce Me the Atomi games? And there's number 2, and I was wondering if you could play the game. It's a really good game, and there's some English voice acting too, and it's really good. Ah yes, the Seduce Me games. Quite a few have actually recommended that to me before, because it's on my list of recommended games. Those do look good, and I intend to play them at some point. I don't know when that is, unfortunately, but know that I do have those games on my to-play list, so it will be done eventually. Hopefully I'll get to that soon. Okay, the next is from Patori. Always wondered if you went to school or are currently in school. If so, what did you/are you studying? Because you're super smart based off of how quickly you figure things out/solve equations in some of your other vids. First of all, gosh, thank you very much. And to answer your questions, I've actually been out of school for 6.5 years now. Gosh, that seems like a lifetime ago. I didn't study anything in particular. I only have a high school education. I never went to college or university. And as I mentioned on an earlier question, I was homeschooled, so I studied a lot more math and science than the other subjects, since that was kind of where my interest was. I think I just have a leaning that way, which Might explain why I can solve equations reasonably quickly, because I did a lot of that in school, maybe. Maybe. Thanks for the question. Next is from Little Cool Cat. Can you play Backstage Pass? Well, you will be happy to know that the answer is a definite yes. I will play Backstage Pass. In fact, that's one of the 2 games I'll be playing next after finishing Hustle Cat and C14 Dating. So you can look forward to that. I know I'm pretty excited to play it myself. Okay, next we have a question from Eliana. What games do you play when you're not making vids? Well, currently I've been playing LEGO Star Wars, The Old Republic Online. I've been playing quite a bit of Gwent, the Witcher card game. It's in its beta right now, and that's been a lot of fun. I'm also playing Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun with my hubby, and the Attack on Titan game with my brother when he comes to visit. The games I play really vary on the time of year. New games that have come out that I'd like to try, and I have a ton of others I'd love to play, but either I don't have the time or the muns for it, but I'll get to them eventually. And at least this way, I guess slowing me down with just a few games, I can really focus and enjoy the games that I'm able to play right now, so I guess that's a good thing. Alrighty, next we have from Maya Shotwell. Why did you start YouTube? Ooh, well, there were a couple of reasons that are kind of connected to each other. My hubby had started his channel a year before me, and he was really excited about getting views, subscribers, and comments, and that excitement rubbed off on me, and I really wanted to give it a shot too, but as I mentioned before, I'm very shy, and I didn't know what I could do since I'm not all that good at mainstream games like what my husband plays. But he knew that I enjoyed visual novels and thought I should do that. But I thought, oh come on, nobody's gonna watch somebody play through a visual novel. But then I discovered Dodger. A lot of you probably watched her too, or have at least heard of her. Anyway, I was looking up a route to some game I was playing, and she popped up. And I remember watching her and thinking, oh wait, she does exactly what I do when I play a visual novel, which is put on a lot of weird voices while reading it out loud to myself, and people are watching her. So that combined with my husband's continuous pestering finally got me to give it a shot and see how it went. And voila! Here I stand before you, or I guess sit before you today. It's all of you who really keep me going, so I can't thank you all enough for watching this crazy lady read through some visual novels in some crappy voices. I'm so glad that you enjoy my content, and I hope that I can keep getting better and better at making these videos. Thanks so much for the question. Okay, now we got a long one here, Miss Jolanda. So let's get this started, shall we? Okay. I may have added a lot of randomness in here, so be prepared. I'm ready. Okay. Which character did you like and dislike more than you thought you would? I can already guess dislike, though. Looking at you, Toma and Tay. Okay, well, to start, for character that I liked more than I thought I would, I definitely have to go with Ukyo. I started off with curiosity and then outright terror of him, and somehow that turned into this weird kind of morbid joy every time he showed up, which then turned into sobs at the end of his route. So yeah, definitely him. I definitely ended up liking him a lot more than I thought I would in the beginning. As for dislike, well, you definitely got the 2 suspects down pat, that's for sure. I've been trying to decide which of them I dislike more than I thought I would, though. I was initially going to pick Tay, because he was the first to shock me back when I was young and naive, but the more I thought about it, I think I'd have to go with Toma. I really liked both Toma and Tay in the beginning of their games, and then both of them ended up being the worst part of those games for me, but at least with Tay, he didn't lock the MC in a cage, pretend that he was completely justified in his behavior, and when I heard his backstory, I understood why he acted the way he did. Definitely didn't make it all right, and I really don't think the MC should have been in a relationship with him until he had gotten some help and had some time to heal, but I at least did understand why he acted the way he did and why his thoughts were the way they were. But with Toma, I never did understand. There was nothing to understand because it's never explained why he acts the way he does. It seems like he had good family and obviously very good friends. He also never even tries to apologize or make up for his actions in some way. And I truly believe that if the MC didn't just happen to have been in love with him before the amnesia and hadn't wrote about it in her diary, and that diary hadn't just happened to fall to those passages when the crazy stuff went down at the end, man, I don't know what would have happened to her, but I think it's pretty guaranteed it would not have been the happy ending it ended up being. And how long till he goes off the deep end again? Because apparently the MC is completely fine with his behavior, and he's not going to correct it in any way. Okay, before I rant anymore, I think it's safe to say that Toma would have to be the character I ended up disliking a lot more than I thought I would when I first started that game. Okay, moving swiftly on from that topic. What was your favorite subject in school, and least favorite? I definitely have to say that math was my favorite subject. Nerd alert. But seriously, for me, math came naturally. And of course there was and is some stuff that I find very difficult, but I remember that I would sometimes do equations just to relax, or if I was feeling kind of antsy toward the end of summer break and I wanted something to do to keep my mind busy, I would go and do some math equations. And as for my least favorite, it was probably history. I really did not enjoy having to memorize all these years and generals and battles and all those things. Now that I'm older and out of school, I've looked into periods of history and people that do interest me, and I enjoy it much more now than I ever did in school, so there's that. Okay, next. What's a language that you think would be delightful to learn to speak fluently? For me, it was always Spanish. I love the Spanish language. It sounds beautiful, and I love that it actually has grammatical rules that are actually applied at all times, unlike English. Although in the last year or two, I've also come to really enjoy Japanese, and I would love to be fluent in that so that I don't have to watch anime with subtitles anymore. That's not the only reason, but that would be a nice bonus, I think. Since this is my Q&A, I'm going to cheat and say I'd like to be fluent in both of those languages. Oh. Okay, next is, what's your favorite letter? I don't even know how I came up with this. An interesting question, to be sure. I never really thought about it, but probably M, since that's the letter of my first name, and before I was married, what my last name started with. So, I'll go with that. Okay, what's your favorite color? Even though I already know it's yellow and purple, lol. Wait, then this question does not make sense. Yes. For those of you who don't know, Jolanda is the one who makes my awesome banners for my channel, and she's awesome enough to make them in my two favorite colors, purple and yellow. If I had to choose between those colors for an absolute favorite, it would have to be purple. And as a fun fact, my wedding dress was actually purple. It was a purple sari, so there you go. Cats or dogs? Well, considering my fear of dogs, it would have to be cats for me, because kitties are so cute and cuddly, and they're not going to bite chunks out of my thighs. Unless they're like a big cat. But little cats, little household cats, they're good. Okay. Do you prefer coffee or tea? Definitely coffee. I don't mind tea, but if given the choice, I would drink coffee. And I take it straight black because my dad told me if I was going to start drinking coffee, I should power through the taste so that I would never have to work my way down to black from getting used to cream and sugar. It's definitely worked, as I really dislike any sweetener in my coffee now, so I guess thank you, Dad. Okay, next is, what is something that really annoys you but happens regularly? Well, my back laid me up for like a week after doing something as simple as shoveling snow, I guess, would be the culprit. It really annoys me that I can't do things which should be just normal things everyone does, but for me, I'll be in pain for a week, and then I can't do anything until I go to the chiropractor, or it goes away on its own very gradually. I don't have a condition, as far as I'm aware of, but when I was 10 or 11, I can't remember exactly, around there anyways, I was skating with my brother, and we were playing tag, and he came up, I guess, kind of fast behind me to tag me, but the impact of his hand hitting my back sent me off my feet, and I landed really hard on my back. And I thought I was okay at first. I remember getting up, and I was laughing, and then I realized that I couldn't breathe, because I guess it knocked the wind out of me. That's how hard I fell. And so I was trying to skate my way over to my mom, and then I passed out on the ice. Anyways, when I woke up, my back was in so much pain that my dad had to carry me to the car, and also back into the house, and I was sore for a very long time after. But anyways, now I have back problems, so anytime I do something simple like try gardening for like more than an hour, or shovel, or even just something like mopping, my back puts up a fuss and then I'm out of commission. So yeah, I guess it annoys me that I'm in my early 20s and have the body of someone in their 90s. Okay, kind of a slight exaggeration, but it just makes me feel useless, so I get kind of salty sometimes when I can't do anything, so that would be the thing that annoys me. Okay, moving on to the next question. Do you have a lucky number? If so, what? Is there a cool story attached to it? Well, I wouldn't really say it's lucky. Maybe unlucky would be a better descriptor. I don't know. But I like the number 13 since the day of my birthday. And that does have a cool story attached to it, or at least I think it's neat. Fun fact, August 13th, the year I was born, was a Friday, which means that I was born on a Friday the 13th. So every time something bad happens to me, I just blame it on the fact I was born on that day. Hey! What's your favorite food? Oh, there's so many favorites, but I will go with mashed potatoes. I could definitely eat that every day and would never be sick of it. I've even had leftovers as breakfast the next day before, and it's one of my favorite things. Yum! Okay, next is what's a culture/country with the most interesting history in your opinion? I don't know. That's a tricky one, actually. I'll say England, since that's the history I read the most up on. I'm especially fascinated with the Tudor period of England's history. There's a lot of political intrigue that's fascinating to read about, and it's amazing that such a tiny place like England became such a vast empire, so that's what I think about that. Next is, should I get a goldfish or a skink? Oh, I don't know if you got one of those yet, but I'd say it depends on how much maintenance you'd want to put into your pet. I think a goldfish would be a lot less work than a skink. But then again, a skink is really cool. At least in my opinion, but hey, you can take that with a pinch of salt, because what do I know about pets? Okay, next is, do you like reptiles? And I do, actually. I've held snakes and turtles many times. Many times. That's a plural. In fact, one time a turtle actually found its way into our neighbor's backyard, and I was the only one who wasn't afraid of it. So I picked it up and I carried it down the street to the nearby creek. And that was a lot of fun. Actually, I took a picture that day because it was a huge turtle. It wasn't like a tiny turtle. I don't know. I'm trying to think how big it was. Like at least a foot long from snout to tail. I can't remember if it had. Anyway, it was like grabbing onto my hands and stuff. Anyway, it was adorable. And I was able to set it free by the crick. So there's that. What are some of your favorite TV shows? Well, I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest. A couple of shows that I do keep up with are Doctor Who and BBC Sherlock. In the past, though, I've watched all of the Star Treks, including the original series. Stargate Atlantis, Babylon 5, Firefly. Oh, man, I watch a lot of sci-fi now that I think about it. And I get the itch to rewatch those from time to time, and I do enjoy that. Fave Disney movie? Oh, such a hard question! Well, I'm definitely more of a fan of the older Disney movies. I probably would have to pick Beauty and the Beast. It was one of those movies that I watched over and over and over as a kid. She was the first Disney princess to be a brunette, and she loved books just like I do. And I was also super jealous of that library that the Beast gives her. And of course, I loved the love story and Belle's beautiful yellow dress. That may have been where my love for yellow comes from too, now that I think about it. And what's your favorite Pokemon? Ooh, hands down Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is so cute, and I always felt so bad that it loved singing so much and yet nobody could listen to it without falling asleep. It also made me laugh how in the show it would carry a black marker around with it, both as a microphone and to draw angrily on those who fell asleep during its song. Just mwah. Yeah, definitely Jigglypuff. Any cringy childhood stories you'd like to share, winky face? Fun fact, a friend's mom gave me cake when I was 7 and she put like 1 drop of alcohol in it. And I was convinced that she was scheming to kill me because she just murdered my brain cells. Well, that seems like a fairly reasonable deduction to make. Don't see what's wrong with that. As for me, well, there was the one time my parents had company over and my brother, who literally has never pulled a prank in his entire life except for this one night. guess he was feeling mischievous or something. Anyway, he pulled the chair out from under me while I was standing up, and then I went to sit, and I fell really hard, and then burst into tears on the spot, which really embarrassed me, because I was a big girl. At least I thought I was at the time, so bursting into tears was not a very big girl thing to do. And I think I refused to come back out until everyone had left because of that. Ugh. Oh, okay, that's enough cringe for now, I think. The North Pole or the South Pole? South, I guess? I think that's where you can find some penguins, right? If so, then I pick the South Pole. If you could ban something from the universe forever, what would that be? Oh gosh, coming up with all the super hard questions, Jolanda. I've been thinking about it for days, and it's really hard to pick just one thing. I think I'd have to go with getting rid of physical pain and injuries. They don't do any good for anybody, and without that, people wouldn't have to be held back by pain or a debilitating injury. They can actually do the things they love and feel good, physically at least, every day, so I think I'd go with that. That was a hard question, though. Eesh. Cows or horses? Oh, horses, all the way. I absolutely adore horses, and wish I could have one. One of my favorite books as a kid was Black Beauty, and that really started my whole love for them. Look up my horse prints on Google. I did the same, and now I have breathing problems. Alright, I was saving looking this up until this moment, so you can get my legit first impression of whatever this turns out to be. So just give me a second to get this set up. Alright. My horse prints. It's a bizarre dating simulator. Okay. What? What? Will you be my owner? What am I looking at? There stands a horse with a handsome human face. Before you know it, you agree to start training him. Is this a dream or a nightmare? It's got really high reviews. Life on the strange ranch awaits. Oh my gosh, what is this? Is there a trailer? It was there. She saw him. That handsome horse. Experience the weird wonder of a human-faced horse. Will you be my owner? Where the heck did you find this, Jolanda? Oh my god. Oh no, go away. Shoot. Oh my goodness. Do you want a carrot? She's really cute looking, but what the heck is this story with this horse with a human head? I want to make lots of memories. Alright, well that's my horse prints. Maybe I should put that down on my to-do list for later. Oh, well thank you for that, Jolanda. Okay, next question. Whew, okay, get myself under control here. Him. Would you rather wear itchy Christmas sweaters forever or be allergic to chocolate? I was originally gonna go with the Christmas sweaters because I do love chocolate, but then I realized that I love summer too much, and I would not be happy at the beach in an itchy Christmas sweater. So, I'd happily give up the chocolate if it meant I didn't have to wear those forever. What's a word you like to use frequently? Probably Segoy. I use it a lot to mess with my husband in particular. Whenever he tells me something really excitedly, I'll respond with, "Wow, that's so Segoy!" Also, whenever I'm really excited by something, I'll run out of the room yelling about how Segoy something is until my husband asks what it is so I can share it with him. Okay, next is, are you more of an introvert or an extrovert? Definitely more of an introvert. I really don't like going out, and I get super anxious about talking to people I don't know. I don't know very well. Oh, I'd much rather be inside relaxing, playing video games, than outside socializing, if I'm being totally honest. Which smiley is better? Or I'm gonna go with the first one, since it looks like it has a unibrow, and the other looks like too many chins. That's my logic for picking that answer. Do you agree that furniture shops are like giant mazes? Most definitely. Of course, most stores seem like giant mazes to me since I'm so short and I can't find my way out most times, but still. If you could remove a memory from someone else's brain, what would it be? Oh, that's another hard question. Man, that's really hard. In general, I have good memories, or there were a series of things that happened and it led to something crappy happening, so getting rid of one memory doesn't help me. I might have to think about that a lot more and get back to you, because I honestly can't think of anything right now. Sorry. Show us your handwriting, lol. Behold! And stare in awe and amazement at my beautiful handwriting. Okay, next. Penguins or kangaroos? Gotta go for those cute penguins. Okay, I think that's more than enough. You don't have to answer everything. I did it, though! I hope you enjoyed my answers, Jolanda. Got through them all. Okay. Now we're on to some questions from Kimmy13923. What's your name and what shall we refer to you by? Because it's killing me, Lamau. My name is Molly. So you could go with that if you like. My husband also calls me Maul for short. Not Maul as in Darth Maul. Although, on second thought, I'd be quite alright with that too. Of course, there's my YouTube name, and some call me Triple G. You can even call me Hey You. I'd probably respond to that too. I never really gave it much thought before. Maybe I should have a poll? I don't know. I'm really quite alright with whatever you decide to call me. Next is any social media you have, because I want to send you stuff whenever I can. Well, aside from Google Plus and YouTube, I'm not actually on any other social media, but I probably should get onto something else. I just don't know what. There's so many options now. Any suggestions on what would be best for someone who doesn't really have a lot of time for that sort of thing, but which would also be an easy place for someone like you to send me things, which, by the way, I'm super curious about now. I want to know. Next is, will you be willing to do other types of games such as an RPG? Oh, absolutely. I actually play some RPGs in my off time, so it wouldn't be a problem to do it for the channel, provided enough people were interested in seeing that type of thing. Out of all the games you have played so far, who is your favorite and least favorite? For absolute favorite, I'd have to go with my honey, Yuri. He still holds the #1 spot in my heart, though some others have come very, very close to displacing him. But yeah, he's my favorite still. As for my least favorite, I'm gonna have to give that award to Toma again. Bleh. Which Charit's game, of any dating sim, would you see yourself living in, and who would be your main bae? Probably Nameless's world. It seems pretty normal, aside from the dolls that come to life. And of course the main reason would be so that my main bae could be Yuri. I'm not biased at all. What are you talking about? Next is, do you brush your teeth with your left hand or right hand? I brush them with my right hand. Do you sleep with socks on or no socks? Much to my husband's chagrin, I do not sleep with socks on. He hates it because I have very cold feet, and he hates it when I put them on him when we're in bed, but I absolutely hate having anything on my feet, or on my head for that matter. This is why I live for summertime. I don't have to deal with those shenanigans. What do you work for or as? I work as a cleaner. I have some of my own daytime house cleaning, as well as regular nightly cleaning at an office, as well as some chair cleaning and window cleaning on weekends. I really enjoy it since it's low stress, and I get to work with my husband, which is always enjoyable, so I quite enjoy that. I mean, as much as you can, anyway. Are you a student? Not anymore. Been out of school for 6.5 years now, and I really don't miss it. How old are you? I have a feeling that you're like 25 or something. Well, first off, congrats on being one of the few people who guessed that I'm older than I actually am. Of course, you haven't seen me, which would probably influence your opinion, but hey, I'll take whatever I can get. And you were close, because I am 23. So there's that. Favorite book? Ooh, it's a hard one to pick. I love reading so much. And there's so many books that I reread over and over again. Gosh. Okay. I'll go with maybe A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. It's about a little English girl called Sarah who comes from India with her dear papa to go to an English boarding school. She has all kinds of fantastic clothes and dolls, and she has such perfect manners that everyone who knows her thinks of her as a princess. Sarah's always been a kind of role model for me because even when things were really not going well in her life, like at all, she never let it get down. She never lost her kindness and graciousness, even though she was not treated well. And I've always found her story really inspiring, I guess. And I always feel super relaxed when reading it, and yeah, I'd highly recommend that book to any of you book lovers out there. It's a good read. And lastly, from Kimmy, we have, who are your favorite YouTubers? I really like Dodger. Press heart to continue. Cry is another one of my favorites to watch, and there's also Jesse Cox, Wow Crendor, and Gopher. I'd say those are the real main ones that are my favorite YouTubers for sure. Thanks for all the questions, Kimmy. Next, we have a question from Asia Aaron. Have you ever tried playing Episode, the app in the Play Store? They have a new story called Pretty Little Liars. I really would like you to play it. And also, congrats on 1,000k subs. You go, girl. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the congrats. And to answer your question, I have not tried that app. I didn't actually know about it until you mentioned it. I did some research on the Pretty Little Liars story, and looks like a lot of people like it, but they also say it's pretty expensive to play, so if that is the case, I probably won't end up playing it. Gotta choose carefully where I spend my months on games, but hey, if I do come into some more months, then maybe I will give it a shot one day. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Next, from Shaka Rakana. At the time of your answering this, how many games do you already have on the to-do list from all the suggestions people have already made? I counted all of them up, and there's 27 games on my list, but I finished 5 of those suggestions, so now I'm down to 22 games. I guess I'm getting there. Question mark? Getting there, maybe? One day? Thanks for the question. Now we're back to Telegram the Fury. Ugh, sorry, I keep doing that. The Furry. Many apologies for mispronouncing it, always. Are you planning to play Blood and Roses? If so, do you know when? This is another game I hadn't heard of. Probably since it seems like it can only be played on a phone or tablet, neither of which I have. So I'm afraid I have no plans to play that one anytime soon. But thank you for the suggestion. I will add it to my list and see if I ever get around to it. Next is, what is your favorite video you've made so far? If you don't have one, feel free to list more than one. Thank you very much. It's really hard to remember out of 600 videos, but 3 that definitely stick out in my mind as videos that I'm proud of is the very last video I did for Nameless with the true ending, and also parts 9 and 10 in Ukio's route. So yeah, those would definitely be my favorites out of the 600 plus videos I've recorded up to this point. And what is your opinion on the furry fandom? Just wondering. Well, I definitely have no problem with it, and I can definitely see why people would be part of the furry fandom. And considering that some of the games I've played have consisted of dating bunny boys, cat boys, and cat girls, then maybe I could be considered a mild furry myself. What is your favorite animal? If so, what is it? Favorite animal? Definitely a horse. They're so majestic and beautiful. And though I don't think it'll ever happen, I would love to have one of my own one day. Do you have any pets? If so, how many and what are they? Names and genders included, please. Oh, unfortunately, this is going to be somewhat of a boring answer since I don't actually have any pets of my own, and I never have had a pet either. But if I did get a pet, I would probably get a cat, and I would name him Hieronymus. Because reasons, okay? Thanks so much for all the questions. And now we have a series from TKSI. First off, congratulations again on 600 videos and 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much again for the congrats. Number 2, what are your thoughts on games/visual novels and other genres? Do you play them, and would you consider playing them on this channel or another channel? I guess considering that my answers to some earlier questions about what my favorite game is and what games I play when not making videos involve games of different genres that are not visual novel related is a good indication of what my thoughts on it are. I really do enjoy playing other games in different genres. I have also played visual novels that are not dating sim specific, like kinetic novels, sci-fi novels, which I've enjoyed. The only genres that I'm not too keen on are horror, since I do not deal well with that, at all, and also action games, unless I'm playing on the absolute easiest difficulty, since I'm not very good at them. And I would definitely consider playing some of those for the channel. It's just a matter of content that all of you guys would most like to see, what other genres of games you're interested in, and whether you'd like me to keep that stuff on this channel or start up a completely separate channel that's only for that kind of content and keep this channel specifically visual novel focused. I guess I could do some experimenting and see how it goes, maybe? We'll see, anyway. Third, what is your favorite voice that you can do? And is there a voice that you wish you could do? Well, after playing Amnesia, I'd have to say that my Orion voice is my favorite voice that I can do. Because now I always think of that sweet spirit bug when I do it, and so I'd say that's my favorite. As for a voice I wish I could yes. Blech. I wish I could do. Gosh, there are so many. If I had to pick one that I could add to my arsenal, it would be Dodger's anime girl voice. It's so good. And, I'm trying to think what character she's used it on. I think she used for Amy from Always Remember Me, and also Finley, maybe, in her Hustle Cat videos? I could definitely use more lady voices in my arsenal, so that's one I would pick. Fourth, would you consider collabs with other YouTubers? Absolutely. I've actually been in talks, I think, 3 times with different YouTubers to do a collab, and it keeps falling through for various reasons. The only collab I've successfully been able to do is with my hubby, and that's not too hard since we live together, but I'd definitely be up for doing a collab with another YouTuber. Hopefully one day it'll actually materialize. Fifth, is there a character type that you wish you saw more in games? If so, what and why? That's a really good question. I think for me, a character type I'd like to see more in games is a supportive parent. Not a parent figure, mind you, like an aunt or a teacher, but actual parents. It seems like whenever they put parents into games, they tend to go the route of, oh, they work overseas, and as a result, we're out of touch with each other, so we're not that close. Or they go the emotionally abusive parent route. And if anyone plays a supportive role as a parental figure, it's more often than not the parents, but other members in the family, or an older friend or teacher that fills that role. And it would be nice to see like a parent or parents that have an actual loving relationship with their child and who are supportive of them. I mean, maybe we don't see it that much because game developers feel it's not realistic to portray that, as sad as that is. And maybe they put that in so that we as the players can form an emotional connection to the protagonist, as that's been our experience. But at the end of the day, these are games, and hey, if we can have games about dolls that turn into human boys, or cat bunny boys from another dimension, or a magic cafe that turns you into a cat, I don't know. Surely we would be able to accept that there's parents that are actually close with their child. So, yeah. I think it would be nice to see more parent characters like that. I'd like to see that more in some games. Question number 6. Which route so far reminds you most of you and your husband, and in what way? Ooh, I love this question. This is really hard, actually. Funnily enough, I'd actually say DeAndre and Melissa remind me the most of us. They actually look disturbingly quite a bit like me and my husband do. I think also the fact that they were always teasing each other, they're both kind of easygoing people, and the way they naturally felt really comfortable with each other from so early on is what reminds me the most of me and my husband. Also, the scene where Melissa uses DeAndre like a human tissue reminds me a lot of me and my husband, since he lets me do that to him as often as I need it. So, yeah, gonna have to go with DeAndre and Melissa. Number 7. What are some of your hobbies and talents? Well, I enjoy video editing. I'm not sure what they're called, actually, but there's AMVs, which are animated music videos, which I've done some of. Basically, you take clips from a show or a movie, and you put it to music or audio from a trailer, and make it into its own video. That I really enjoy. Other hobbies include reading, and I guess playing video games. As for talents, I've been told that I'm a good dancer, which actually is something else I also enjoy. At my fastest, I was able to type 90 words per minute, and I'm probably somewhere between 75 and 80 words per minute nowadays. I'm a fast reader. Most book lengths I'm able to read in 2 or 3 days. I think that's it. I think. Pretty sure that's it. Question number 8. Can you fall asleep immediately, or do you find it difficult? It's very rare for me to fall asleep immediately. I usually toss back and forth for a good half an hour at least, if not longer, before I settle down enough to sleep. Got a lot of stuff on the brain, I guess. And finally, question number 9. How often do you fall sick? And how on earth can you sneeze with your eyes open? Well, I don't get sick very often. but when I do get sick, it knocks me out for at least 2 to 3 weeks, which is a pain. But thankfully, I don't think I get sick more than 2 or 3 times a year. As for sneezing with my eyes open, as you've probably realized by now, I sneeze a heck of a lot. And taking that fact into consideration, the odds of me sneezing a few times while driving is pretty high. And I used to have to drive on the expressway to work and back. And I was always worried I was going to sneeze. Closed my eyes for a second, and a truck was going to run into me because I wasn't paying attention for those couple of seconds. So, I trained myself to keep my eyes open while I'm sneezing and driving. It's really hard, and man, does it hurt your eyes. I'm always super teary for like a minute afterwards, but at least I can keep my eyes open while I wipe away the tears. And I only really keep my eyes open while sneezing for when I'm driving, though. So yeah, that's the story behind how I keep my eyes open while sneezing. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for all the questions, TKSI. And I think, finally, on our list we have Andrea Sputicus. A couple more questions that are left. Number 4 is, would you ever play visual novels with guys as MCs or no? Oh, most definitely. It's just that those games haven't come up yet for me, I guess. And if you take Nameless into consideration, I played as Grabby for the true ending. He was kind of a protagonist for his own ending. And if you take Roommates into consideration, then I played as Max, who's a male MC, and I did 4 routes as him in that game. I don't know if that counts or not, but I hope so. And question number 5. Would you ever play/read game books? Similar concept to VNs without the pictures. I probably would. I really love reading anyways, so I don't see any reason why I wouldn't enjoy game books as well. And suggestions. I have a few suggestions for more playthroughs. Of course, if you wish and if you have the time. Always open to suggestions, so let's see what you got. I would suggest basically nearly every game made by Winter Wolves. The ones that made the university game you played. Can't remember the name. That would be Roommates, which I just mentioned. Most of their other games are basic RPGs paired with quite good visual novels with romance. That's good to know. Also, if you would ever play/read game books, the Choice of Games publisher has great game books. From them, I can highly recommend the game called Mecha Ace, which is a great game book and has great romance too. Very high replayability as well, because there are many choices and endings. Right, well I can definitely see why you'd recommend Winter Wolves games. I've played like 3 of them, I think, so far, and I've enjoyed them all immensely. So I really must try out the other games. And thanks for the suggestions as regards game books. I'll definitely look into those and maybe give those a shot. You've definitely intrigued me, to be sure. And I think that's it. I think we're done. Oh my goodness. That's all the questions and comments answered. Thank you guys again so much. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your YouTube names. I tried to do my best. Hopefully I didn't screw up too bad. But I really had a blast answering everything, and I hope you enjoyed my answers to your questions and comments. Thanks again so much for watching and for your support on this channel. It's greatly appreciated. And I also hope that you have a safe and wonderful 2017 coming up ahead. And as always, I hope to see you in the next video, guys. So until then, I'll see you later.